Bright Dust. It is one of the most important currencies in all of Destiny, and it's getting a major change in Beyond Light. Currently, the most effective way to get Bright Dust is to just grind out weekly bounties. However, Bungie has noticed something they're coining bounty fatigue, in which players just have to keep grinding bounties to be rewarded for playing replayable content, and one of those rewards is Bright Dust. They say they're currently implementing a system or working on a system that is in development and will remove bounties as the core activity to grind for weekly rewards. And to reflect this, they are starting with the release of Beyond Light and making weekly bounties drop only half as much Bright Dust. Now, to compensate, the Season Pass will now include frequent Bright Dust drops both in the free and paid categories of the pass. Now, the actual numbers are as follows. The free path will offer 7,500 Bright Dust, and the paid path will offer 3,000 Bright Dust. In total, if you buy the Season Pass, you'll be awarded with 10,500 Bright Dust, which all in all doesn't sound too bad, except when you do the math. With the current system, Guardians are getting 200 Bright Dust per weekly bounty, with a total of 3,600 Bright Dust if you complete all bounties across 3 characters. This entire rate is going to be halved going forward from Beyond Light, so you would think that 10,500 would be enough to recuperate those lost gains from weekly bounties, but it isn't. Here is a chart, a table that I created based on some numbers. If you want to take a closer look at this, it'll be linked down in the description below. But for now, I'm just going to be paying attention to the right-hand column, the most right-hand column, called Total Guaranteed Bright Dust. Essentially, this is just the total amount of Bright Dust that is guaranteed per season, as in from weekly bounties plus the Season Pass. Now, because Rivals was delayed, there was a big shift in the numbers that we had to account for. So there's 2 columns for Arrivals, one for just standard Arrivals as it was for 22 weeks, which obviously is an outlier. We can't really use that for this calculation, but underneath at the bottom there is Arrivals Adjusted, which is the fixed calculation to calculate what the drop rate would have been if Rivals was 13 weeks as planned. And as you can see, the difference between this season of Arrivals, and the next season is a whopping 15,600 Bright Dust, which is a lot, especially considering the amount of work you have to go through. The same amount of work essentially, right? Because you're still completing all levels of the Season Pass, you're still grinding out on 3 characters, you're still grinding out all the weekly bounties that are afforded to you, just for losses of 15,000, which makes no sense. Versus if you look at this table charts not 3 characters doing weeklies and Season Pass. This chart just tracks 1 character. This one balances out. So if you're on 1 character and you complete the Season Pass and do all your weeklies, the numbers match up. But this is solely for people who are only doing single characters. So the question really is, why are multi-character players being punished? I'm more inclined to believe that this is oversight than anything else, but honestly, I'm fairly new-ish to the Destiny community, so I don't have too much experience dealing with Destiny's history of microtransactions. If you're somebody who's been here longer than I have, please feel free to comment down below, but it just feels weird to me. It feels weird that the most hardcore members of this community are being punished just because, well, there is no reason. It's just because. I would agree with these changes if there was still a way to reward players who grind out on 3 characters. It shouldn't be necessary for a player to work on 3 separate characters in order to gain the right level of Bright Dust. The way it should be is one character should be enough. One person playing on 1 dedicated character, as in they're coming in week after week after week, completing bounties, doing everything they need to be. That is a player who is in there for the long haul. Those people should definitely be rewarded through the Season Pass and through weekly bounties. Totally agree. But there are also people that are going above and beyond. There are people who are going 1, 2, 3 characters in and doing the same thing 3 times just to get more Bright Dust. Now, obviously, the sole reason people grind isn't for Bright Dust. I think that's been like the only counter that I've seen. Well, nobody really cares about Bright Dust. Yeah, I agree that Bright Dust isn't like the sole reason people grind for Destiny, but if you think about it, it was something that was already afforded to them. Why would you take away something that was already being given to you? It's like if you were getting A's in your report card, and after every report card, you would get a popsicle. But then for whatever reason, a year later, I started giving you half a popsicle for a report card. It just doesn't make any sense. You're putting in the same amount of performance. In fact, it just shows that you've had a dedicated performance for a longer period of time. My worry is that a decision like this just is bad for the overall community because it pushes away the hardcore players, the people who are willing to play this game for a long period of time. Now, there is like some upside. I don't want to be all negative in this video. If you're a solo player, like the majority of people who are playing Destiny, this is a general upside to you. Yes, you are not getting any more Bright Dust. Don't get confused with this statement. You are not going to be making more Bright Dust. You still have, well, you might be making more Bright Dust, but you still have the same opportunity to make the same amount of Bright Dust. I guess those are two separate things, right? Because you still have the same opportunity to make 18,300 Bright Dust. But the upside is that if you are getting it from the season pass and not the bounties, there's no reason for you to have extremely focused sessions of playing Destiny just to grind out bounties. There's no strain or stress on you to log in every week and just continue playing Destiny until you hit those weekly bounties. You can take a week off, you can do other things, you can come back and then catch up on your season pass levels. That's the upside. Additionally, I do think what is happening is that more and more players are just getting season pass levels but then never doing weekly bounties. That just seems like it's a trend, because that's the only trend that you could base this change off of. That combined with Bungie's reasoning as to why they don't even want bounties in the game in the first place probably makes me believe that they're really just focusing on the season pass. It's on them to implement a system that will reward people who are playing 3 different characters. One of the biggest solutions would be increasing the amount of Bright Dust awarded to players who complete repeatable bounties, the ones that are randomly generated, the ones that are just given to you when you complete all other bounties, right? Those only reward 10 Bright Dust. Nobody in their right mind is trading in their glimmer for that much Bright Dust. It just doesn't make any sense. There needs to be a way to reward players who put in extra hours, not even just extra work on different characters, just people who are putting in extra work to grind Bright Dust specifically. I understand it's a premium currency and it's used to unlock things that are premium, but it shouldn't be that hard. So hard that even the most dedicated members of the community cannot reasonably attain it. After looking at a lot of things, initially I was agreeing with Bungie because the way it was worded in the TWAB, it made it sound like a lot of people were going to have a lot more Bright Dust. But after looking at the math other people did, doing the math for myself, finding out, hey, this isn't actually going to increase Bright Dust for the most hardcore members of the community. Maybe for the solo players, right? Those are the only people that perhaps have more Bright Dust. At least if you're a casual player who plays on one character and all you're doing is going through the season pass without doing the weekly bounties, you will just have more Bright Dust this season versus last season just because the grind is easier. That's the only reason, not because there's more Bright Dust going around. It's just that the ways in which the Bright Dust is handed out is easier for you to do. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. As always, open to discussion, open to talk about this stuff. Just drop a comment and we could discourse about it. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I'll see you all next time.